When we talk about the old computers, most of the people think that this is a dysfunctional idea. Why? Well, you need to deal with the old software, find appropriate drivers to install, and things like that. Welcome to my channel, where we discuss cybersecurity, tech, and a little bit of retro tech history. I have a bit different perspective about the old computers, and I want to tell you about that. I have a few retro laptops around, but one of my favorites is the iBook G4. I got it 5 years ago for about $50, and it still serves me quite well for specific purposes. Keep in mind that this is not a typical x86 computer that could run any software that you want. This is a PowerPC machine, and it could run various versions of macOS up to macOS Leopard. Well, there's even a Snow Leopard test build available somewhere, but I feel like this is not necessary for such an old machine. It came with 10.4 Tiger, but I've tried different operating systems on it. One of such was MorphOS, and it's really beautiful and fast operating system. But it actually felt the same way like Haiku OS that I've tried a few years ago. It's functional, but I have no idea what to do with it. It has no usable software for my needs, but many people could disagree. Then I've tried the PowerPC version of Debian. The last version what you can run here is the version 8. But there are still archive repositories available, so you just need to update your system to fetch data from there specifically. But at the end, you might feel that all those options are not really worth it, since the best operating system it can run could be just macOS. I don't see much point in experimenting with something else. Quite honestly, this iBook loses all the magic once you start trying out some different operating systems instead of what it's supposed to run. So after experimenting with it for some time, I've just reinstalled macOS 10 Tiger back on that machine. It took some time to find a proper disk image for it, but I went with the CD version. Keep in mind that there are actually 4 CDs, and essentially it installed fine there. Okay, it's installed, and now what? What are you planning to run in it, you might ask? Well, I think the best software to run is the software from that era. I personally installed Office 2004 on it, and it runs perfectly. 2008 Office might work way slower. You can also install iWork and iLife suites. Keep in mind that some later versions require macOS Leopard to work properly. Talking about the retro gaming, you have some options available. For example, Call of Duty is one of such games you can try. Also try Halo. There are plenty of available old games for this platform, but make sure that you have enough RAM. G4 is just a typical work power horse. It could be powerful enough for some documents, presentations, and simple games, but not much than that. By the way, it can also load macOS 9 in classic environment if you set it up properly, and that opens up a world of classic Mac software and games. You cannot dual boot it natively, but otherwise it should work in macOS Tiger. Talking about the updates, I was surprised that you can actually still download updates from Apple servers. Yes, it does that. And I've had multiple rounds of updates until it's actually fetched everything. Those updates are really old as well, so do not rely much on that. Talking about the internet, well, it's definitely not an internet machine. You can install PowerFox and do some light web browsing, but keep in mind that most of the scripts will either run slow or not operate at all. Forget about YouTube and video playback, that machine cannot handle it. What's the conclusion here? Should you go ahead and buy an old PowerPC computer like that? I don't think so. I've seen some people are hunting even for G3 machines, but I never understood the enthusiasm over it. What could you do with such an old and underpowered machine? I feel like G4 is the bare minimum that you need to think about. G5 on the other hand is faster, but it's the least power efficient machine, and I would also recommend to skip it. Either pick something in laptop case like G4 or think about a different computer, like an Intel based MacBook Pro. That might be a really good machine for the Linux or macOS Mojave, let's say. I always wanted to try how Apple used to be before the Intel migration, and I've actually got to understand it with this PowerPC Mac. By the way, this script was also written on this machine, and it was a pleasure to type it on. Let me know in the comments if you ever wanted to try PowerPC Macs, or maybe you have actually used it in the past. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe, press the like button, and see you soon. Bye guys!